Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to create this report that you can see on your screen using Power BI. This is a HR dashboard for HR executives to keep track of employees in their organization. This is a three-page report as you can see on the navigation bar here. On this overview page, we have the total number of employees. Here we have the trend of employee over time. When you hover, you can see the values, average salary as well as attrition rate. You can filter this dashboard by year. When I select 2013, for instance, everything filters for 2013. Down here, we have the employee demographics. Here, distribution of employees by sex, citizenship, and marital status. Here we have the sex. You can use this also as a filter. If you want to filter for male employees, for instance, you can click on that and the whole dashboard filters to represent male employees. You can also right click to see the details of male employees using the drill through feature. When I click on this, it takes me to the drill through page. Here you can see that it has filters to show male employees. I can go back to the overview, and the same thing is applicable to departments. When I hover, you can also drill through race, age band, and marital status. On this second page, we have the attrition. This particular page is used to track the rate at which employees leave the company. Here we have the total number of employees that are terminated, active employees, attrition rate, then the number of terminated employees by sex, the distribution by sex, then the reason for leaving the company. Find out that most of them left because they got another position. Here we have the trend of attrition rate. You can right now it is drilled down to month and year. You can expand that to see. It's drilled down to month and year, but you can drill up to just year if you are interested in only year. So you can see that this is showing just the year. Then you can drill down to month and year. Then go back to report, and this also has the drill through feature just like we saw earlier in the overview page. On the employee details page, this is serving as our drill through page as well as employee details page. Right now, because we drill through for male employees, it's filtered for male employees. I can go to this filter pane and clear that filter. Just click to expand this pane, then clear the filter. Right now, it's showing the information of all the employees within the organization. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification to be notified when I post new videos. This particular video is a part of a playlist of my Power BI project. The link that you can see on your screen at the top right hand, you can click on it and to explore other projects I have created for Power BI. This data set I'm going to be using for this report will be in the description below if you want to follow along. The Power BI file also, the link to that will also be in the description below if you want that. Let's get started. So we start by creating a background on PowerPoint. These are the three backgrounds that I use for this report. So I'll be creating this first one because they are all similar, just the number of shapes that differs. So I'm going to click on new slide, blank slide, insert a shape. I'm going to be inserting a rectangular shape. Cover the slide. The shape field, I want the shape field to be this color and I don't want it to have any outline. Insert a rounded rectangle. So this is going to serve as a page navigator bar. Reduce this so I can see other part of the slide. Then change the shape view to this color. Change the width. Then next thing is to add another rectangle, rounded rectangle. This is going to serve for our header as well as our title pin. Shape fill, I want it to be white, no outline, and I want to add a shadow. Click on shadow outer, and then click on shadow again, shadow option, change the color. I want it to be 35. Close that. Duplicate this because it already has the effect that we want. So this part is going to serve for our card 1.43, 3.37. Okay, adjust the edge a little and ensure that it's aligned with the top part. Copy, paste. So I'm going to paste it into three places. This should align with this other part. Then click on the three and distribute horizontally so that we can have even space in between. Then copy this, paste, extend this, increase the size a bit, copy it and paste again for the down below. So we have our first page. Group everything, Control A, Control G, then save as picture. Just save it as SVG to any location of your choice within your device. I'm not going to save because I already have this saved. Then we will go over to Power BI to import this background. You can replicate the same thing for these other pages. Like I said earlier, they are the same, just the number of shape that differs. Now in Power BI, we're going to add the backgrounds that we've created in PowerPoint. I'll click on new pages to add new pages to this. Then on the first page, which is our page one, click on Format Painter, Canvas Background, Browse Image. I'll select the first background that I created, which I've tagged as HR, the SVG part. Click open. You can't see anything now because of the image is still at normal. So I'll change this to fit and transparency, reduce that to 0. So we have the first page. Then I'll add the second background. Open. And image fit. We have the second page, then the third background. Image fit. So we have our three backgrounds. So we are going to go ahead and import our data set. Our data set is a CSV file. Like I said earlier, the link is in the description if you want to follow along. So I'll click on Get Data, CSV, search for it. So we have this. So I'll import it. Click on Transform Data. Now we are in Power Query, and you can see here that Power BI has promoted header and change type. But let's first remove the columns that we don't need. So I'll click on Choose Column, Choose Columns, deselect all, select the columns that I need, employee name, ID, salary, position, state, date of birth, sex, marital status, citizenship, race, date of hire, date of termination, termination reason, employee status, department, manager name. So that's all. Click OK. So it has removed other columns. Then I'll go back to this change type. I want to change type of this employee ID to text. So I don't want it to be in whole number format. So click on this and select text. Then we want to insert that there. replace the current one. I don't want to add it as a new step. Then go back to remove other columns. Then I return on the view in order to see my column quality, to check the quality of the individual columns. So as you can see, most of them are at 100%, except the date of termination. And if you look at the column beside it, which is the termination reason, you find out that the ones that are empty are actually because of the fact that the employees are still employed. So which is fine with this data. Then I will click home, close, and apply. So I'm just going to change the dataset name to just HR dataset. And let's go to the table view. Next thing I'm going to do is create a date table. But before that, let's expect the date that we have here. So here we have date of hire, and the minimum date of hire sort ascending is January 2006. Then date of termination, let's check the maximum date here. We have November 2018. So I'm going to be creating a date table that will capture all these dates. So I'll be starting from 1st of January 2006 to December 31st of December 2018. So I'll click on table tools, new table, date table. It's equal to calendar date function. The year here, start year is 2006, month is January, day is 1st of January, December, then enter. So we have this. I'll change this from date time to just date. The next thing is to extract year from this date. So I'll click on new column, year, which is equal to, use the year function, date, table date. So the next column is going to be the month name. I'll click new column, month name, is equal to format function. Then we're taking in the date column. Then we'll format this to extract the first three letters of the month name. So we have that. Then go back, click on date table, mark it as our date table, choose the date column, save. So you are trying to make Power BI know that this is your date in this particular data model. Then back to the table view. When we look at our data set, you find out that we have the date of birth, but we want to extract age of the employee from this date of birth column. So I'm going to be including a new table column here. So this particular function is used to find the difference between the date of birth and today's date, then return that as a year format. When I click commit, we have the employee age. The next thing we're going to do is to group this age into different bands so that we can use it in our graphical representation of employees, total number of employees by age band. So I'll create another new column. So this is a switch statement. What it's basically doing is that it's going to look at this employee age column. If the age is greater than or equal to 33 and less than 40, add it to this band. If it is greater than or equal to 40 and less than 50, add it to this band, like that to the end. Then if it is not there, just say other. And when I click commit, we have this. You can validate this by looking through your data to ensure that the particular age band assigned to a particular age is what is meant to be. Here you have 41, which is between 40 and 49, which is correct. The next thing we're going to do is to model the data. So here we have our date table and the data set. In this data set, we have two dates, the date of hire and date of termination. And we want to use the two dates. So we are going to create a relationship between the date of hire and date table, also the date of termination and date table. So I'll click on manage relationship, new relationship, HR data set, date of termination. Okay, let me start with date of hire, date table. So we have a one to many relationship. Then another new one for HR data set, date of termination, date table, date. We also have many to one relationship there. So when we look at our relationship, we find out that the date of hire to the date table is active while this is inactive. If you look at the chart itself, this is dotted. The one that is dotted is showing the inactive relationship, which is date of termination, and the one with the solid line is the active relationship, which is the date of hire. We are going to be using these two dates in our calculation, and I'll show you how to use this particular one that is dotted in your calculation, despite the fact that it's inactive. So we start creating our measures I'll be using for this analysis. I'll first create the table for my measures. Click enter data, measures, load. So the first measure I'm going to be creating is the total number of employees, which is basically going to be the count of the employee ID in the data. So I will type total employees equal to distinct count of the employee ID column. And the next one is the average salary. If you look at the report view, we have the salary column. So I'm going to be looking for the average of this salary column. I'll click new measure, average salary is equal to the average of the salary column. The next measure we are creating is the number of active employees in the company. We have a column known as the employment status. If you look at this column, it has the categories either active, terminated for cause, voluntarily terminated. So we're going to be looking for the number of employees in this particular data set where this column is equal to active. This will give us the number of active employees that we have within this organization. So I'll right click new measure, active employees, which is equal to, we're going to be using the calculate function. So the expression in this case is our total employees, since we have created that, which is basically the count of employees within the organization. Then we filter the HR dataset table where employment status is equal to active. This will give us the total number of active employees that we have. The next measure we'll be creating is the number of terminated employees, which is going to be the opposite of the number of active employees. That is where the employment status is not equal to active, like we had seen earlier here. So let me drag to this point where the employment status, this is the employment status column, is not equal to active, which will give us the number of people that have been terminated. And another thing about this particular measure is that we are now going to activate that inactive relationship that we had earlier here based on the date of termination, so that whatever slicer that we're using, our date slicer in this case, which is going to be coming from our date table, will work based on date of termination. So in order to effect that, I will right click on this new measure, terminated employees. It's equal to still calculate function, same expression, that's total employees in this case. Then filter status, that's employment status, where the employment status is not equal to active. Then use relationship. This particular function is going to activate the relationship between the date table and date of termination, which is currently inactive. So that we're going to activate it and use it in this particular calculation. So I'll select date table and date of termination. And finally, we have the attrition rate itself, new measure, attrition rate, which is equal to divide the terminated employees versus active employees. Then I will delete this column. So we start creating our visualization. So we are going to be creating a card visual for the total employees. Drag total employee in here. Then change the visual from native card to new card. Expand the format pane. Then turn off the background. Turn off the paddings. Scroll down to card. Turn off the background in card as well. And the border. Then come up to the colored value part. Reduce this to 35. Then the label 12 is fine. Adjust this. Then I'm going to be creating a line chart for the trend by year. So select total employee and year. Then turn off the background. Turn off the title and the x-axis. Turn off the title and value. Y-axis the same. Turn off the title and value. Then the line, change the color of the line to fit our theme for this particular report. I want to use this color. Then adjust it to fit the space meant for it, which is beside total employee. So I'm going to click on that and total employee, then group, Control G. So we have this as one visual. I will copy this visual, paste. So we're going to replicate the same for average salary and attrition rate. So here, instead of employees, we have average salary. So I'll change this to currency format. extend this to be visible, reduce the decimal places, reduce it to 0. Okay, then the line chart itself, I will change this to represent average salary and change the color of the line chart to fit our color theme. For the attrition, select this part, change it from total employee to attrition rate. The attrition rate in this case should be in percentage. Change this to percentage. Extend this a bit. Then for the line chart, click on it. Replace the total employees with the attrition rate. Change the color of the line. So next is the employee demographics. So we are going to be using a donut chart. Extend this. Select total employees by sex. We have the male and female. So on the slices, I want this particular blue to be a blue color theme. Then increase the inner radius to 70. Go down to 70, okay? Scroll down to detail labels and change this to show just percentage of total. On the legend part, I don't want the legend title to show. Turn that off. Then copy this, paste here. So for this is going to be for the citizenship. So instead of sex, I'm going to select this citizenship. Rename this as citizenship. So I'll go to the slices. I'll change this to our blue theme. Then change this to a lighter shade of blue. The next one is by marital status. I'll copy this and paste. Change, replace citizenship with marital status. Rename this as marital status. Okay, change this blue to be our blue theme. So the next set of visuals are going to be bar chart representing department, race, and age band. So I'll select a bar chart here. And select measure, which is going to be total employees by department. Select department, turn off the background. Then the X and Y axis, turn off the titles. And value of the y-axis as well. Then for the x-axis, for the y-axis, I'll increase the maximum bit to 35 so that we can see the name. Then we change the back color to fit our theme. Then copy paste. So this particular one is going to be for race. Select race here. I did this to only show race. Then finally, we have the age band that we created. So select age band. Select all three. and turn on the data label. Next is to add a slicer for a year on this page. Select here from the date table. I don't want it to show between. I want it to be a drop down slicer. Adjust this. Reduce the slicer header font size from this to 10 and make it italics. Turn off the background. So we have our here. We have our first page. Rename this part as overview and also add a text box for the title. Increase the size to 20 and set your UI bold. Adjust this. I want the color to be our blue theme. For the next page, which is the attrition, I'll copy the overview as well as our year. Copy and paste that on that next page. Don't sync. So I'll rename this as attrition. Then back to the overview because on this page I also want the attrition rate to show there. So copy this particular visual, paste it here, increase the size. I also want to increase the size of the color value from 35 to 40 in this case. Then I'll copy this, paste it. I want this to represent terminated number of terminated employees as well as the active ones. So I will remove this from attrition and select terminated employees. Then this next one is going to be for active employees. Because we already have a donut chart on the first page, I'll select this total employee by sex, paste it here. Instead of total employees, in this case, we're going to be having number of terminated employees. So I'll remove total and add terminated employees. Turn off the background. Background is on. Next is the line graph of attrition rate. So I'm going to select this line chart here. Then select attrition rate. Then year on the x-axis. In this case, I want to be able to drill down to months, not just the year. So I'll select the month name and place it on the year. So you find out that we have this. Expand it. So right now you can see that the month, if I expand this, let me expand it further. The month name is not sorted in chronological manner. It's actually sorted alphabetically. So I'm going to sort that by clicking on month name and sort by month number. Then remove the month name and place it back. So we have it sorted in chronological manner. So when I go back, let me close this and go back. So I have it in this format. You can drill up to the year, you can drill down to the month. So let me just drill up for this case and click on Format Painter, turn off the background, and X and Y axis, remove the title. Then change the color of the line to fit our color theme. So next is going to be a bar chart of the terminated employees by reason. So to check the reason they were terminated. So I'm going to select terminated employee as a measure, number of terminated employees. So we are going to distribute that by reason for termination, which is time reason. So you can see that we have another position as the highest there. So I will start formatting this, turn off the background, and for the y axis, turn off the title, x axis, turn off the title and value. Then on the y axis itself, I want to increase the maximum width to 35 so that we can see most of the reasons. Then turn on the data label. On the bar, we change the color to fit our color theme. So we have the attrition page. I'll rename this as attrition. Next is the employee details page. And for this page, I also need the title text as well as the year. Copy this to paste this there. Don't sync. And rename this as employee details. So I'll add a table here that will house all the details of our employees, more like the raw data. And select employee ID, name. This is name. Oh, let me expand this. So select sex, date of birth, and citizenship, department, date of hire, date of termination, employee age band, employment status, marital status, position, race, then average salary. So these are the details I want to see. And date of hire, I will change that format. Day, month, and year. Remove date of termination. I don't need that. Then format it. Turn off the background. Style preset. I want it to be minimal. And under the grid part, I want border the border color to be our blue color theme. Option, increase the padding by, let it be 6. Then column header, I want the text color to be white and background to be our blue color theme. So and turn off the total. So we have our employee detail. Because this particular page is going to serve as our drill through page, we're going to be editing the page information itself. So click on page information, change it from standard to drill through, and add data. We want most of the categories that we've referenced in our first and second pages to be there so that we can easily drill through from those pages to this particular page. We reference department, for instance, age band, sex, race, citizenship, um, okay, marital status, termination reason. So we have department, age band, sex, race, and citizenship. Basically, the categories that we used in the first two pages so that we can easily drill through from those pages to this particular page. So you can see that a back button has been added for us automatically, but I don't need that because I'm going to be using page navigator. So I will add more slicers on this page. So I want this to be the position instead of year. Remove year, add position, and I want this to be department so that you can slice this table whichever category that you have in mind. Then on the overview page, let's test our drill through feature. You can see that when you hover, you have the drill through. You can drill through to page 3. Now that I'm on desktop, I can hold down the control key and click on this to get that. You can see it has been filtered for sex or female. So I'll rename this as employee details. So the next thing is to add a button here, page navigator button that we can use to navigate from one page to the other. So to do that, I'll click on insert buttons, navigator, page navigator. So automatically we've added three buttons here representing the three pages in our report. Click on the format pane, go to grid layout. I want it to be in vertical format and extend this. Then I want the shape in this case to be rounded rectangle. Okay, I can make this rounded actually, make it 5 so it has soft edges rounded. And also for the padding in between the grid, I want this to be 10. Then where you have style, for default value, I want the fill of the default value to be the color of the blue that we have, and I want the font to be white so that it will be visible. The font size, make it 12, and remove the border for all. Then for the selected, okay, on hover, let me do on hover first. I want the fill color on hover. You can see the ash color on it. I don't want this gray, so I'll change this field to this particular shade of blue. Then change the font color to navy blue. So this is what the hovering looks like. Then on pressed, if you want to press this, that ash color that you can see there, I want to change that. Change it from, so let's press, change the fill color from the shade of gray to blue. Then the font color is white, which is fine. Then for selected, let me click on selected. Instead of black as our fill, I want this shade of blue. So you can see because we are at overview page, this is highlighted. So I'll copy this for the remaining two pages. So I'll paste this on attrition. Because we're on attrition page, attrition is automatically highlighted. Then employee details. We're at employee details page. So that is basically all for this particular report. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And I would like to know what you think about this video. Also, the Power BI file that I used is in the description below if you need it. Thank you.